Hey girlies, I'm Jessica. And I'm Rachel, and you're listening to the Game Day Girlies. Hi, girlies and guys. We're back with another week of Game Day Girlies. How are you today,
We're
Rachel?
back. We're back. It's Sunday, and Alabama didn't lose, so it's a good day.
It's a good day. I wasn't stressed this weekend because Clemson wasn't playing. It's a good
Yes,
week. I got
it's good.
I feel peace.
Exactly. I feel peace. And then Alabama, we have a bye this week, so I have a peaceful week also. So
Oh, what a way.
hallelujah.
What a way to go into it. Well, we'll get
Hallelujah.
right into it then with
Mm.
our recap of week 3 games. So starting off with our Friday game where I thought I was gonna get fun in the pick and pick the underdog was Arizona, Kansas State, and Arizona got dog walked.
Dog walked. The spread was 7 point. It was a touchdown.
Yeah,
And
that's all they
let's
got.
just say that Arizona did not cover.
They did not cover. They did not cover at
They
all.
didn't, but it's okay. And, like we said, if any of these games, well, actually, looking at the scores, we shouldn't have even said this. I was like, if any of these games were going to be an upset, it would be Arizona, Kansas State. Well,
It wasn't.
we didn't have any upsets, but we certainly had some closer games
With some
than
potential
what we could
upset.
have.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
Um,
Arizona was not one of them, so I'll take my
Arizona,
L.
Kansas State was not one of them. However, thank God Alabama, Wisconsin was
Mm,
also not one of them. Alabama played at Wisconsin for their first road game of the
mhm.
season and handed Wisconsin a pretty
Yeah,
convincing win, 42-10. So, great showing for the Tide on the road. And we go into a bye this week. So before we host Georgia,
yeah.
so we need
Y'all got a whole
every
week
every
to
wink of
prep,
rest. We need
to
every
prep, to
wink,
think about it, to pray
every
about
wink.
it.
I mean, also Georgia needs to also. Anyways, we'll
Yeah,
get there.
yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Our next game, and mind you, I was shocked about this, so I'm not even gonna lie to you, but we had Boston College at Missouri, and it was a
Yes,
lot closer than I had anticipated
I
as an
think
ACC
anybody
girly.
anticipated.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Boston College, I see you. You did lose to Missouri, but it was a lot closer than I thought, and the game was 21-27. And
She said
mind
you
you,
did lose, but
but, like, I was, like, flipping the channel. I was like, "Okay, wait a minute,
yes.
wait a minute." I wasn't expecting it to be that close, so kudos to y'all for, like, making it a game because there were
Yes.
actually, like, I think theirs was a 12 o'clock one too. The 12 o'clock hour,
It was packed,
it was
jam-packed of action.
packed. Yeah, it was packed, but a lot of them were blowouts, and I was just like, "Okay."
Well, I
Like,
mean,
except a couple. Except
yeah,
a
I was gonna
couple.
say, this is the weekend where I had to pull out our rolling TV, our second TV because Alabama and LSU played at the same time, and, we Alabama is baby girl cannot be picture in pictured. We
We need a full screen. I need a
Alabama
full
needs a full
screen,
screen, yeah, especially we're not about to picture in picture to LSU, so let's just make that very clear,
especially after the way they played.
which
Tea.
we're about to talk about. So LSU at South Carolina, this was a mess. This game was a
Mm.
mess, and Jordan was he at one point, he just went upstairs.
Upstairs in the loft where he can still hear
He
what's
said
going on.
he said there were more choice words, but he essentially said, "I just cannot watch this anymore," and I was like, "I get it. I've been there.
Take a
I've been
breather.
there."
Take a breather.
But LSU pulled it out against,
Mhm.
South Carolina 36-33.
Mhm.
Essentially, South Carolina, they missed their field goal
Yeah.
at the last second in order to tie it and take it into overtime. So I already know that this has to hurt for our South Carolina peeps, but I know Jess is over here like
Wait, I was actually scared. So I pray, and this is the only time I'll say this like emphatically. I pray for the University of South Carolina's downfall in every aspect. I truly do,
Oh
except
my
women's
god.
basketball, because whatever. That's
Yes,
like
women's
colleague.
basketball.
But in every
Only
other
women.
aspect, I root for their downfall. So to see them playing well, I told my mom, I was like, Clemens better get it together
She
because
said, "I can't believe
come
this."
come November, if they looking the way they've been looking, if South Carolina looks like this, we will be in trouble. So I will say they looked really good. There were a couple of questionable calls towards the end of that game that I do think
Oh, brother. Don't even
favored
start this.
LSU. Mind
Oh
you,
my
I
god.
do. I was rooting for LSU, though, I was. But there was a couple of questionable calls. I mean, I feel like the officiating was pretty bad in general, but
No, in general, it was very bad. There were
because
multiple calls that shouldn't have been. It was a mess. This whole game was a mess.
it
Everything was
was.
a mess. It was a mess.
It
From
was.
LSU's performance to the
Yeah.
refs, this was a
Yeah.
mess.
It
It
was a
was a mess.
mess. But shout out to LSU and Jordan. I hope you didn't have a heart attack. I checked on you. I hope Rachel told you that. I was checking on you.
I didn't tell him because he was in such a state.
You
I
needed a
just left it
moment.
alone. Yeah, I just left that alone. I was like, "This is a conversation for another day."
Fair, 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 fair.
So
Oh my
that was
gosh.
that. But
But yeah. Go
but
ahead.
but whenever we were talking about this earlier, I was like, it is Jess and I were talking about like what we're gonna talk about today and who we were gonna talk about. And we would be remiss if we did
Mm,
not report on the facts.
hot tea.
The hot tea, which includes Florida State. Now, this has nothing to do with Clemson
Mm-mm,
and DJ's reputation amongst the Clemson faithful.
mm-mm.
However, FSU losing to Memphis at home
Mhm.
and
And not even
also
close.
not even close, and paying them $1.3 million
Mm,
to come
and get beat.
to Tallahassee. This was crazy. This is wild.
Yeah. I think to not dog walk FSU like I've been doing, I want to kudos to Memphis. This makes them like a really big contender in the other 5
The group of
schools.
5.
Yeah, the group of 5 schools.
The other 5. Girl.
Group of 5, other 5. Them
Just
5. Them
them
5.
5.
Them
Them other
5.
5.
It
Oh my
puts them at a top contender and, like, looking at their schedule, they do have a couple, I would say Tulane will be a competition for them, but all in all, this puts them in a really good position to potentially make the playoffs at the end of the season, and I think that's exciting. I like to see, like, the little underdogs make it, so the way it's set up this year, I think they really set themselves up with this win.
Mhm.
But Florida State, I have no more words actually
Oh my
for
gosh,
them.
honestly, the Twitter's, response to this game has been so good but yet so bad. It's so
Yeah.
bad for anybody that's a Florida State fan or a Florida State player. My heart goes out to you.
Mhm.
However, for my pure enjoyment, this has been my Super Bowl, my Twitter Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It has been so good. The tweets,
Yeah.
the memes. Y'all are so creative. And FSU Barstool, whoever is running that account
You
deserves
deserve an
an
award.
award.
You
It is
deserve
so
an
good.
award.
It is so good. And
Oh my gosh.
whoever is running the ACC Barstool also deserves an award.
Deserves an award,
They
yeah.
literally went on there and said, "Can a conference sue a school back for being so trash?" And and should, because Florida State, y'all were out of pocket. Y'all said, "Let us out.
Yeah.
good for the ACC, baby. What were you gonna do?
You can't even get past you can't even get past a non-ACC. Like, come on now.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God.
crazy.
It's
Oh,
crazy. Now on to another conference. My conference. Georgia, Kentucky.
mhm.
Now,
That was a good game. I enjoyed that game.
yeah, because we're not Georgia fans. Of
Exactly.
course. Exactly. We enjoyed it because we were like, ooh, T, 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 T.
Tea. It was
You
good.
know,
It was a good game.
whenever Georgia, now Georgia, 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 now that I live in the state of Georgia, I have a newfound disdain for Georgia. I feel like what y'all thought I felt about Texas, I actually feel about Georgia
Multiply it.
because Carson Beck, I don't understand why he's in the conversation around being a Heisman winner or Heisman candidate for what we'll get into that another week. But I don't get it. And Georgia, everyone on the Twitter is talking about how every year, they have a close game and
Mhm.
then, right around week 2, 3, 4, and then they bounce back.
Right.
The SEC is a different conference this year.
Mhm.
Georgia.
It is.
They have to play both Alabama and Texas.
Mhm. We better get it together.
The
Texas
the
has
whole
surpassed you this week, baby. Get it together.
Yes, so we are recording this on Sunday after the AP poll has come out, and Texas is number 1, has been
Mhm.
ranked number 1, and Georgia has dropped to number 2.
Yeah.
Alabama and Georgia play not, this upcoming week, but the week after, so that's a big
Mhm.
test. And
Mhm.
then Georgia and, Texas play, like 2 weeks after that.
Mhm.
So, additionally, kind of in SEC news, I know we're kinda getting off on a tangent, but Quinn, Ewers, for the
Mhm.
starting quarterback from Texas, is out with, like, a side injury and likely won't play next week against, um, UL Monroe, which Arch Manning had a great game against
Yeah.
UTSA. Congratulations to him. They're all like, "Arch Manning for Heisman." Okay, let's
Rachel, you're showing
pause.
your peeve. You're showing your peeve.
No, I'm just like, no, it's just honestly so crazy to me. It's like, okay, yes, this man had a career game against UTSA, as he should. Like, the bar is in hell if this is what we're doing. Anyways,
Like,
that's
expect more. Expect more
I'm
out of
like,
yourself.
yes, I'm like, please, Quinn has brought y'all through. Like,
Yeah. Listen,
let's
you should
not
be
be so quick.
okay. Let's not
Let's have a little
jump
bit of
ship.
loyalty. Let's have a little bit of loyalty. Let's have a little bit
Yeah.
of loyalty, Longhorns. Anyways, so it'll be very interesting to see how all this fleshes out because
Mhm.
as of right now, there are in the top 10, I think that there are 6 SEC teams in the top 10, which is, and don't quote me on that, it's like 5 or 6, I can't remember. I think it's like 9 in the top 25, but that becomes, uh, uh,
Tough.
that becomes tough. Like, what does that mean? People are gonna have to start they're gonna have to start beating people out, and that means, like, is Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and, Ole Miss and Mizzou gonna get into the playoff? Y'all are gonna have to everybody's gonna have to step it up and have to
Yeah.
play better, and it's not gonna be just head to head, it's also going to be, like,
How you
who's
played.
how are you playing, and how are you showing yourself consistently and getting better every single week? And so
Mhm.
that's something to watch in the SEC. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on, but Georgia.
Yeah. And to your point though, Rachel, because I was looking at this and I said, how is a Kentucky team that just got dog walked by a USC team that just lost to an LSU team almost beating the number 1 team in the country? Like, to your point, like the SEC is just a hot mess this year. Not hot mess, but just like crazy this year. And
Mhm.
that anybody can come up on top. And if you're not playing your best game, this looked good for Kentucky. This is a coin in Kentucky's hat playing well against Georgia. This is not good for Georgia. So it's like they're going to look at all of that later if Kentucky wins out, all these things or whatever. But yeah, the SEC
Is right.
is crazy. And I was just eating this game up with popcorn because I was like, I'm so glad this isn't my team anymore. We already had our moment and we failed. So I'm glad it's somebody else like doing well and can prove that Georgia can be knocked down their pedestal. So that
Oh
was a
my
good
God.
game. And I hope Kentucky fans, though you guys lost, don't hang your head too low. You know,
I mean, yeah, you could be Florida.
you
I'm sorry. I'm
in
sorry.
Florida. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry.
Yeah.
It didn't mean to come out like that.
It's okay.
But
No shade
I
here.
mean,
We never claim to be an unbiased platform.
true. Honestly, all the tweets around Florida and basically Florida and Florida State saying we have to truce and not let Napier or either of the coaches be
No.
fired. Not let any of the
Oh
coaches be fired
gosh.
before they play each other, because it's gonna be like the the matchup between the two Florida
The
wild
train
cards.
wreck, literally the train wreck.
It's gonna be like a freaking accident on the side of the highway. You just can't look away. It's gonna be so bad, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, so bad it's good, literally. So I'm excited for that. But
Ugh.
the SEC is definitely a conference to watch. I feel like the smaller teams are kind of like proving themselves to be keeping up a little bit. So good for y'all. And then going into some in-state rivalries, which if you guys are not aware, typically doesn't happen until Thanksgiving. You have your notable in-state rivalries during rivalry week while you're eating your leftover turkey. But we had some this week, which two of them, one being the Apple Cup versus Washington and Washington State. This one was a close, good game. Washington having lost their coach, their quarterback, and a whole lot of top receivers to the draft and their coach to Alabama. Last year, coming back and having left the Pac-12, kind of getting their feet wet and showing that they're still here, and then Washington holding down the Pac-12 saying this is still for us. And the Apple Cup is technically still a Pac-12 trophy, so they're trying to
Right.
keep it in the Pac-12, and they did. So that was a really good close game, close matchup. Washington State took that one, which was exciting. It was a really good game to watch and see, but I felt like it was a good, wholesome game. And then the other one is Colorado versus Colorado State. I feel like Colorado State did their big one in the media and was talking all that hot rah-rah, and then they
Per
got
usual.
dog walked.
It's too
They
much.
Yeah, I'm just like, can we just let the football talk for itself at this
Let's
point?
not do this.
Yeah. A lot of people were like expecting this to be a lot closer than it was, because last year it went to 2 or 3 overtimes
Yes,
last year for
it was an overtime game for sure.
yeah. And Colorado ended up winning that one, but it was a lot closer and there was a lot of media swarming that one. So they were expecting it to be a similar fashion. However, Colorado said
No.
no. And then Shedeur Sanders did not shake hands with the Colorado State quarterback at the end of the game, because he was the main one talking all the hot rah-rah in the media. And you know what? I'm not mad at that. If you're gonna talk it, stand on it. But
Oh
don't be
my
trying to
goodness.
run scared at the end and be like, but yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the other two notable games we had this week.
Well, just what a time. What a mess. It's just always a mess, but that's
Always some
okay.
drama.
There's always
Always
a little
some
drama,
drama.
but that's one thing that Colorado's gonna do is they're gonna give us a little bit of, they're gonna do it for the plot.
Yeah, if nothing else, if they ain't gonna win, it's gonna be a plot.
Exactly. Exactly. We're gonna be entertained and we're gonna see it on Sports Center the next day. Period.
Oh gosh. So moving into our topic of the week, we talked a lot about conference realignment last year with new teams entering the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and that has left the Pac-12 in the hot seat because the NCAA requires at least 8 teams to be deemed a conference. So now they're trying to figure out how they can stay afloat
Mm,
as a conference. The NCAA has given them a 2-year grace period to acquire 6 additional members because as of right now, it is just, like I stated, Washington State and Oregon State
right.
are the only 2 left, and so now they have to, like, get all these other teams to buy in, and so they are poaching from the Mountain West Conference, set to join the conference by the 2026-2027 academic year, so in a minimum of 2 years, so by or before then will be Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State, but they still need 2 more schools to hop on the bandwagon.
Mm,
And they have, as their top choices right now, Cal and Stanford, which is highly unlikely because both of those schools just joined the ACC this season. Their next second 2 would be Tulane and Memphis, which they are both a part of the American Conference. And if they were to join, though more likely to do so, it's would require them to have more financial commitment than the Mountain West teams that have already decided to join. And then
right. So
the yeah.
Tulane and Memphis have already committed to Mountain West, or they are looking to because or I guess I'm trying to would they are in the
Mhm.
AAC
Yes.
currently,
Mhm.
but they
So
essentially don't want to leave, or they're looking to leave, or they're looking to move to the Mountain West
no, so the Pac-12 is looking to poach them from the American, and then the
from
other 4
AAC.
schools that have already committed are all from the Mountain West. So basically saying that if they were to get Tulane and Memphis, that they will require more money to give them in a buyout compared to Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San
Got
Diego
it.
State. Yeah.
Okay, because they're having to essentially if they are poaching these teams and they're going to have to foot the bill for their
Mhm.
buyouts.
Right.
I see. Okay. Okay, got it.
So a little bit more of a financial commitment there. And then the last couple teams that are circulating, I'm sure they're looking at more, but these are just like the top, would be UTSA, which is also an American Conference member, and then UNLV, which is one of the other Mountain West Conference members. So, kind of looking at the Mountain West in general, that seems to be the conference that they have poached from. If they are to acquire one more Mountain West team, which UNLV is in that conference and in consideration, the
Right.
Mountain West Conference will now be in the same predicament that the Pac-12 is in because they will no longer have 8 members. But that is less of an issue because there's speculation that the conference dissolvement is in the talks of the Mountain West, which to me makes sense because I feel like they're trying to make college football similar to like the pros and that there's like
Right.
the big 4 and or the big 2 with like the division. So
Yeah. Well, and also like geographically, it feels like the Mountain West and the Pac-12 have been similar, like in
mhm,
similar like
regions.
regions.
Yeah.
And so the whole okay, let's just like back it up because the entire
Mhm.
reason that conferences became a thing were to group teams together regionally. So
Yes.
the
Exactly.
SEC, the Southeastern Conference,
Conference.
the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal
Coastal
Conference,
Conference.
the big
Big
I mean,
10.
Big 10, they were all in the, like, Midwest. The Big
Mhm.
12 were all, like, in the Southeast, like, Texas or sorry, the Southwest and,
Mhm.
like, Texas. the Pac-12 were all on the West Coast. So this is how conferences were designed to be
Right.
in the very beginning. However, like I said, like it makes sense that the Pac-12 just become the new Mountain West because that is what
It makes sense.
that's what it was designed to be
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like this is a good move, one, because I think it's giving those smaller conferences, so like the American and like the Mountain West Conference, a little bit better of a chance to get in these big, like have more media,
Right.
have more money behind them, have like all the backing that these bigger conferences like the Pac-12 have so that they can, start getting in the recruitment talks,
Right.
start getting in the NIL talks, start having those backings so then they can become these bigger programs. So I like this move. I think right now it's
But
kind of messy though.
does this mean that the Pac-12 is automatically because, before this season, before the Pac-12 essentially dissolved, we had the Power 5 and the Group of 5,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the Pac-12 was a part of the Power 5.
Mhm.
But does this new version of the Pac-12 automatically deem them as a power conference, or
Mhm.
do they get grouped into the Group of 5 and
Mhm.
essentially just replace the Mountain West, and it continue to be the Power 4 conferences, which is SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12,
Mhm.
and then the Group of 5, the Pac-12 is, like, absorbed into that group. That's
Yeah.
very
So
interesting to kinda see how that will happen.
yeah, so kind of like going back a little bit with the 2-year grace period, the NCAA is giving them that 2-year time frame to get these 6 additional teams and members to join to maintain not only their conference status, but all rights associated with it. So my assumption would be that if they meet this time period and they get this 6 additional teams, they would then be back in the Power 5 that status that they had, and I think that would then change what does the playoff look like? Because right now it's the top 4 and then the group of 5 with the
Right.
taking the extra 5th spot, so I think
It's very interesting because, like, right now, there's just not it's a very, like I feel like it's a very gray area, and
Mhm,
why would if the CFP P was going to say that the Pac-12 is automatically gonna be a group of 5 or a Power 5 team, if I were, um, Tulane or Memphis, I would jump at the opportunity because I get to go be in a
mhm,
Power 5 conference
mhm,
versus a Group of 5 conference. Like,
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
"Okay, where the math where's the math is not math."
yeah, and I think too, and kind of, like, looking this up and stuff, seeing that the Mountain West Conference is talking about dissolvement. Not not to, like, confirm, but I'm sure there's especially with this new setup and everything, there's probably talks with, like, the American as well, especially with, like, looking at who they're poaching.
Right.
Like, Tulane and Memphis are big players in the American Conference. If they lose them, then not everybody, but a lot of other teams are probably gonna jump ship too, so it's probably gonna end up being that those group of 5 conferences will then just find their way teams will just find their way into the Power 5, and then it will be the Power 5, no group of 5, and then
Group
everybody
of
else
4.
just group of group of rest of them, and then everybody else will just have to, like, see for themselves. So, I think that's kind of the trajectory it's looking that it's heading. To me, it sounds like prioritization is the like, rebuilding the Pac-12, and then kind of what happens to the rest of the teams is secondary, and then
Which is, like, so
even
sad.
yeah, and then even seeing that Mountain West Conference is kind of already talking about dissolvement, I just feel like that's kind of the track
The
that
trend.
yeah, that it's going in. So I am curious to see how that kind of plays out as time goes on, but they only have 2 years to get it together. So if they can't get 2 more people, to say, yep, and then I don't know what happens to the Pac-12. We'll be right back in the same situation. So, yeah, but we'll see. I think that they have, especially like if Tulane and Memphis continue to play well, they may be looking for a bigger jump to more money.
Well,
It's always about the money, honey.
it is always about the money. It's all about the money, the TV rights, the all the things, all the
Yeah.
sponsorships, all of that. So, I guess we'll see. Something to keep a watch on, and they have one more year, so this will be, something to just I think I think based on what happens in the playoff this year, teams will start or schools will start to reconsider their options,
Mhm. Yep.
um, and we'll see some more definitive action happen kind of after that, so we'll
Yeah.
see, but here we go. We're jumping into this week's picks, and I can breathe a little bit easier because my Tide have a bye. We have some much deserved, much needed rest before we face Georgia. So let's get this ball a rolling. Ball
Yes.
rolling. So this week we have our first matchup is number 12 Utah versus number 14 Oklahoma State. And this is a Big 12 matchup because Utah is now in the Big 12, which again, we're just talking about conference realignments and I couldn't even remember where they were at because they used to be in the Pac 12
Everywhere but
everywhere
where they used
but
to be.
Exactly, exactly. So I am this is I mean, number 12 versus number 14 in conference. It's at Oklahoma State, I believe, right?
Mhm.
Just
Yes.
yes. So I'll be quite honest. I have not been super in tune to the Big 12 now that Texas and OU have left. Have left. And there's not been a lot of, chitter chatter about what's going on over
Either.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I, in this case, am going with the kind of talk around Utah. Multiple of my favorites on ESPN have picked Utah to win the Big 12. Um, and I'm thinking, so I'm going with Utah. I think that they're going to win the Big 12, like my main man Nick said. And so I think that that's what's gonna happen here. Utah. Mm.
Okay. I am going with Oklahoma State. I think the matchup is very, very close,
It
and
is.
them being at home, I think is just what's going to edge them out a little bit. Not saying that at the end, Utah, like they can't beat on their revenge tour and come back and
Mm.
win the Big 12. I think in this particular matchup, though, Oklahoma State will just have like the slight edge being at home and an already even matched like game. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. This is our game where our difference game. I feel like we always have like one every week.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, we're gonna see because I
yeah, we
feel
might have a
like
couple more.
we might have 2, but we'll see.
Oh God, I'm scared. Okay, that brings me to
Mm.
the next one, which I'm excited for, excited and nervous. We have an ACC and also I want to say there are a lot of like top 25 matchups this week. There are a lot of in conference matchups this week. I feel like this week the rubber is meeting the road and you need to start like
Yes.
getting it together. Whatever needed to be ironed out in week one, two,
They need
three.
it needed to be ironed. It needed to be
Yeah,
where we needed to be
starched,
starched.
like crispy.
Starched.
Like,
Crispy, crispy,
yeah,
crisp, like burnt.
yes,
Go
yeah. So
ahead.
that's even like Utah, Oklahoma State, Big 12 matchup. Next, NC State versus Clemson matchup. it will be a home game for Clemson, and it will be a noon kickoff, which means the world to me because I personally believe Clemson does better at noon. So I'm going to be at this game, and I'm so excited. It'll be my
We
first
have a
game of the
girly at the
season.
game.
So I will be shaking in my boots, but as always, I'm going with my Tigers, Tiggs on top, because who else?
Who else? Yes, I'm also picking Clemson here. I think y'all are gonna be just fine at home at noon. This is the secret recipe to success at Clemson, is to be playing at home and
At
at noon.
noon. Yes.
So here we are, and obviously a big favorite. So
Yes. Excited for
Jess's
that
Pigs
one.
on top here.
Yay.
So our next game, which is kind of like the game of the week, according to ESPN,
ESPN.
we have number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma. This is where College Game Day will be at. This is Oklahoma's SEC debut and home debut,
Mhm.
additionally. So they're hosting number 6 Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a game where I have been back and forth all day about, because I'm like, I really do believe that Tennessee is the better team. However, I also believe that Oklahoma is gonna there's been all the talk around Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, da, 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 and I
Mhm.
feel they're gonna have something to come out and try and prove. But ultimately, I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm
Mhm.
picking number 6 Tennessee on the road.
Mm.
I'm hopeful that this does not come to bite me, because I I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see.
Mm.
But there it is, Tennessee.
She said, "That's my pick. I'm sticking
Mm,
to it."
I was sticking to them.
This also is a game for me that I feel a little tiptoey on.
Mhm.
I love Brent Venables, our old defensive coordinator. I think he's been doing good at Oklahoma. I do think it is a different battlefield doing it in the SEC, and this is his like big debut there. I think really the only thing that they have going for them is being at home, and I say that because, and not like literally no tea, no shade, but I just feel like the way they've played against seemingly easier competition this year, it's been a little bit too close for comfort, whereas Tennessee has dominated their opponents. One of them being what was top 25 NC State. So
Mhm. True.
I feel like just the way that they've been playing, they look better, even though it's a road game. I feel like Oklahoma's going to struggle here, and I don't think that they're going to come out on top. I do think that they're going to play a little bit better. I strongly believe in teams playing better when they play a better opponent, but I just don't
Yeah.
think that they'll have enough to edge out over Tennessee. So I also will be going with Tennessee. So that'll be a fun one to watch and look at. And then last, we have our Big Ten matchup in USC and Michigan. So USC is it their debut? They haven't played anybody else yet in the Big Ten.
I
Anyway,
just honestly can't remember who's in what conference anymore. I every day I'm looking at, like, every day
it's
I'm
like,
like,
let me double check.
when you said the USC Big Ten, I was like, ugh, I cannot believe that.
Yeah, yeah. So we have
I couldn't even.
USC.
I was a little bit. It's like I heard it for the first time again.
Yeah, no. But I feel like they've always been kind of because that's their bigger rivals too. They have like rivalries with
Yeah,
like
because nobody
Big
was.
Ten
There was nobody good in the Pac-12 for so long. Like, they had to have outside
outside of
rivalries.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here's a big one. Number 11 USC versus number 18 Michigan. Um I made my mistake in rooting for Michigan last time. I
Oh my
so
God.
I
Michigan
so
is
want
trash. Just say it. It
I
is what it is.
know.
They're terrible.
I so want to see them redeem themselves. Why? I don't know, but I do, and I just feel like I don't know when it's gonna come. I don't know if this is the game to do it, but I'm not risking it, and I'm going to go with USC on this one, even though it's a road game. This one, I feel like it'll be tough for them,
Well,
a
we've
road
already
game.
the big house obviously isn't what it used to be. So
Oh, it's not the same house. It's
it's just
crumbling.
not the same house. It's a little house now. I'm picking USC. Michigan has a lot to prove, and even just in years past, they have been able to kind of lean on their home field advantage. That is not the case with this team. They need
Yeah,
much more than the home field advantage to kind of edge out any sort of competition. So I'm picking USC and Michigan. uh, I don't even know if you deserve to be in the top 25, to be quite honest.
yeah. I am
It's
shocked that they're still holding on for dear life, but you
dear
know
life
what?
by a thread.
This
By a
game will be
thread.
it for them, truly,
I
if they
mean,
don't.
and honestly, even if they lose this game, if it's like if they don't blow them out, they're still going to be ranked in the top 25 because simply because they won a national championship last year,
Yeah,
and USC is ranked ahead of them, and
yeah,
and is number 11, which is basically the top 10 because
and yeah,
6 of the teams or whatever in the SEC. It's like might as well just throw them in there, but
yeah.
so
But
be
we
it.
have some heavy hitters this week. I feel like I'm really excited. I feel like this week will really be kind of the turn of the
We're
turn of the
heading
season.
into a we're heading into a pretty exciting stretch.
Mhm.
October, like starting like this week, and then going into like mid end October,
Mhm.
we have hitters every week.
Heavy hitters.
We have
Another one.
prime
Buzz
time,
Club. Thunder Club. No sleep.
another one. These equipment trucks are on the highway, honey. They are getting around, and they are heading to stadiums across a stadium near you, and a top 10 matchup is happening near you for the
Yeah.
next like 3 weeks. It is going to be buckle up.
Yeah,
Buckle
it's
up,
gonna be
everybody.
really exciting, and I'm excited for this one. And Rachel, I'm so happy you have a bye week. I'm
Oh my
excited you
god.
get to enjoy the pleasures of relaxation.
Yeah, because quite honestly, it has not been that relaxing the last 2 weeks in the first quarter. But
Y'all
that's
gonna
okay.
get it out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so overall records, Rachel had another undefeated weekend, bringing
Nah.
her overall to 10-2. And I had a 3-1, not too shabby, bringing mine
Yes,
to 7-5.
we're
So
winning. We have winning
we are winning.
records.
We're
We're winning.
winning.
The girlies are winning.
So we
Ugh.
shall see what this week brings. And as always, don't forget to vote on our polls.
Oh my gosh, our polls. You guys are honestly have I think that we need to start doing a fan record because you guys have been picking good
Yeah, y'all been
pick
doing good.
y'all
I
have
think
been
you're
doing
better than
good.
us. For me, definitely
Yeah, I was
better than
gonna
me.
say not better than me because I think me and have the same record. I take my picks very seriously. And on Nick Saban on game day, he was talking about how he's not been doing very well with his picks, and his granddaughter told him that he should just whoever he thinks is going to win, that he should just pick the opposite because he hasn't been doing that well. I
I
was
think
like, ooh,
I think for him, because he's so technical, like,
yes.
I love that. I feel like we need a little bit more of that, but he's, like, so technical and by the playbook in the weeds that he's looking at it from a coach technical standpoint. We just need a little bit more Pat McAfee, just like,
Yeah,
"This is
like I
what
have
I'm
a feel
feeling today."
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I'm feeling today.
It's like, "Okay,
So
now, Pat, you know where that feeling is coming from. We don't know, probably all of the pre-workout that you had, but, um, it's that's
it's a
neither here
feeling.
nor there. It's a
They need to
feeling."
rub off on each other a little bit. That's why they
Exactly.
sat them next to each other. I'm convinced.
Exactly, they're the perfect pair. They just if they just it's like opposites attract. They just come on, just come together. Come to Pat and Nick.
Loosen it. Loosen up
Yes,
just a little
they need a show together. I feel like that would be honestly so
gold.
that would be
Yeah.
gold,
Yeah.
gold. Anyways, like Jess said, vote on our polls this week. Follow us at the Game Day Girlies on Instagram. We have a few new social media kind of things going on that we're going to start this week. So we're really excited for you guys to take part of that. Let us know what you like. Um, and otherwise, Jess, do we have
Oh,
anything
wait.
else?
Yes. In addition to new, we're bringing back the old. Snack
Yes.
Talk will be back next Sunday. So we want to hear what you have to say. And if you want to
Mhm.
send us voice memos or videos, and we might post it to see, let
Ooh.
the teams know what you have to say. I would love to hear what everyone says, either in our DMs, voice memo, video, whatever. You guys make this for us, and so we love it. We want to hear
We
what you
love
have to
it.
say.
We can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys always for supporting and listening to us. We will be back next week after this jam-packed week of top 25 matchups, and I will be nice and rested with less stress and no heart palpitations.
Can't promise the same.
Yeah. Now everybody pray for Jess, and she'll be there in person and watching everything from the sidelines. Not She can't yell at the TV or throw
If
popcorn.
y'all see me on the field, don't say nothing.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, everybody pray and prayer. We need to send out the prayer request for Jess and at Clemson. But anyways, we so appreciate you guys, and we can't wait to see you next week. All right. Bye, Game Day Girlies.